Well, tonight, opposition MPP threatens nationwide protest as it calls out President Mahama's controversial suspension of the Chief Justice as a threat to Ghana's democracy.
Expect massive protest from us. We will agitate. We will not sit down quietly. We will agitate. This is unconstitutional.
We have details as the party challenges the president to end what they say is a political witch hunt.
A petition has been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the very process. At least the president should adhere to the rules and principles of the law by allowing the due process to follow before he can even carry on with the politically motivated activity. At least the law should speak first.
We have details plus reactions here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Tonight, opposition New Patriotic Party has threatened a nationwide protest against President Mahama's controversial suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to make way for investigations following petitions for her removal from office. The MPP says the move by the president constitutes a political witch hunt and a direct threat to Ghana's democracy. President John Dramani Mahama triggered the suspension of the Chief Justice after a prima facie case was established against her. The MPP is accusing President Mahama for what they describe as an unprecedented attack on judicial independence and a blatant violation of Ghana's constitution. The party is thus calling on President John Mahama to immediately reinstate the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Listen to the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong-Kodia.
Yesterday was a sad day for the democracy of this country, whereby under the Fourth Republic, an independent organ, the judiciary, was attacked to the extent that the Chief Justice of the Republic had been suspended by the sitting president, something that has never happened under this Fourth Republic. And as a party, we are using this medium to show our displeasure about the action of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is not the democracy Ghana wishes for. And as a country that has gone through several elections, there should be progression, not retrogression. The action by His Excellency President Mahama is not just absurd, but also repugnant and unconstitutional. More so when we know a petition has been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the very process. At least the president should adhere to the rules and principles of the law by allowing the due process to follow before he can even carry on with the politically motivated activity. At least the law should speak first. We are on this medium calling on the civil society, particularly Ghana Bar Association, to come out to condemn the action of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. But we can also assure you, as a political party, the New Patriotic Party will continue to offer a responsible and constructive criticism to the NDC government.
So that's the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong-Kodia there. He was speaking at the party's launch of it, thank you to earlier this afternoon now. The NPP National Organizer, Henry Nana Boakye, speaking at the same launch of the party's thank you tour, emphasized that the party will not allow what it perceives as an erosion of democratic norms to go unchallenged.
Democracy is under attack. Our judiciary is under attack. Do not think that this attack is on the person of Chief Justice Torkornoo. No. It is the entire judiciary. Expect massive protest from us. We will agitate. We will not sit down quietly. We will agitate. This is unconstitutional.
So that's Henry Nana Boakye. He is the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party there. So the party is on loggerheads with the president for the decision he's taking. They are describing this as unconstitutional. They're saying is an attack on the judiciary. We will get deeper into this particular matter when we're joined by the Deputy General Secretary here on Top Story. We'll get all the breakdown for you on this particular show. This is Top Story brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. So this is the raging issue in Ghana where the Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, has been asked to step aside, whilst investigations continue because a prima facie case has been established by the Council of State. You remember or you'll recall that the President received, we are told, some 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice. Those petitions were forwarded to the Council of State, and the process also demanded, in the process, the Chief Justice wrote to the presidency asking to be given audience to see the petitions. So those petitions were made available to her. She presented her responses to them, and those responses together with the petitions were presented to the Council of State. It is on that basis that the prima facie case was determined that yes, there is a case that the Chief Justice was to answer. Now, if you look at the Article 146, it states that when a prima facie case has been established, in the case of the Chief Justice, the President is supposed to set up a committee to investigate this matter. And the committee, we were told, must include 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President. It must also have 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. And this committee was established, or we were communicated to as Ghanaians yesterday, that the President has formed this particular 5-member committee to look into the matters. And today, the New Patriotic Party is disagreeing with the President on all fronts. They say this is not the rule of law that we've come to understand, and that in the Fourth Republic, this is the first time a Chief Justice is being made to step aside. Now, if you look at the Constitution itself, it again says, now, where a petition has been referred to a committee, under this article, the President may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. That is what the President has done. He's asked the Chief Justice to step aside for this committee to do its work. But the opposition New Patriotic Party says they disagree with the process and they are labeling this unconstitutional. We'll get more from them to try and understand from their perspective what they do perceive as unconstitutional. We've been joined on the line by the Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Haruna Mohammed. Grateful to you, Haruna, for joining us here.
Thank you.
Okay. We're also joined by the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC, Dr. Who's also joining us on the telephone lines anyway, Dr. Tanko Rashid Computer. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us.
I'm grateful. And let me say good evening to your cherished listeners and my brother Haruna, the opposition man.
Haruna, let me start with you, Haruna. Why is this unconstitutional, as your General Secretary is saying? Where lies the unconstitutionality?
Thank you very much. I would say good evening to your cherished listeners and also to my good brother, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, whose mouth is full now and talking has become very difficult thing for him. This is something that we have to all look at holistically. These are matters of the judiciary, and the MPP is very worried in a sense that the current president, as candidate Mahama, made a specific pronouncement in Akusumbu when my brother Rashid Tanku computer was present. And he made a statement that the lawyers within the NDC fraternity should prepare. He's going to make sure that he gets them to be on the bench, and many of them will get such opportunity. Little did we know that this is the hierarchy at which this particular discussions at Akusumbo is going to take and the shape. We all know that there is a case at the Supreme Court pending a decision to be made by the Supreme Court relative to the processes that has been started, Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. And we know that when such matters are put before the courts, and for every student from primary knows that we have three arms of government, that is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. It is somehow, in a manner looked at, that the executive is trying as much as possible to control the judiciary. As a result of that, President Mahama has gone ahead to suspend the Chief Justice using the process that has been started, which has been questioned to be decided at the Supreme Court. We all know that such decisions must wait until a decision is made at the Supreme Court before it proceeds. You cannot overrule or override on a pending decision and go ahead and make a pronouncement based on a process that you have started, which has been cautioned.
But if that be the case, the president will bear his own cross. Why not allow the process to run? If the president is found to have gone against what the law says, he will bear his cross. Why is that a worry for you, MPP?
You see, Kojo, what is worrying is that we are running a democratic process in Ghana. We are no more running a tyranny. We are not running a dictatorship. We are not running a coup of leadership. We are running a democratic, a constitutional democracy. And once the constitution is very clear in matters that are pending for decision, the president ought to have been very careful and reserve his pronouncement in terms of proceeding on such a matter. Such decision of president to proceed to suspend the Chief Justice is to undermine the authority of the other arm of government. When you say the arms of government, you think that everybody would understand that every arm must be independent on its own. So it will be wrong and unconstitutional for the president to overlook a pending decision in the court to proceed to do what he did. And Kojo, there has been many objections to some of these particular procedures that has been used. It's been questioned. One of such is contained in the Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report 2005-2006 in Ajay versus the Attorney General and Akwiti. Very respectful lawyers, judges have made pronouncements. One of such pronouncements is Dr. Datiba, who is of the opinion that there has not been clarity in terms of the committee that has been set and even the establishment of the prima facie. So it's also established by Sophia Akufu, who have also indicated that such a matter must be relooked at, because if you read entirely of the Article 146, it is clear that this committee that has been set up is an ad hoc committee, and the nature of the work of the committee in terms of the references and the work that they have to do is not clearly defined by the Constitution.
Okay, Mohammed, but in 2018, when the MPP government then was handling the petitions that were brought against the EC chairperson, Charlotte Osei then, went through the lay-down procedure as the Constitution directs, not so?
Kojo, these
No,
are
no,
two
no, no, no.
different-
I
these are
want,
two
I want,
different
I want a yes or no. Not so. You
I am
went.
saying that these are two different cases. I cannot
how
use
different?
a yes or no.
No, but
I'm saying that,
how different?
Yes, due process was used, and the due process that was used did not infringe on any unclear or described or prescribed procedure. All the procedures were followed, but in these particular circumstances, there has been questions, and that is why I am referring you to the Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report 2005-2006, where Datiba Sofia Akufo, Professor Georgina Wood, Professor Okran, all judges of the Supreme Court made pronouncement and clearly indicated that the terms of reference of the committee is not defined, and we cannot situate the committee in this case to define their own scope and terms of references. And that is why in that particular report, reference was made to Article 126 to 142.
And this was in which particular case?
Of Court Act to guide the processes of court proceedings and what have you. So there was a recommendation in that Supreme Court book that Article 145 and 146 should be looked at, and a clear procedure be given to the committee that is set up. Today, if they ask you, what is the procedure, the form in which the committee is going to do, the committee will certainly go and sit down and determine their own terms of reference or the nature of which they are going to handle that. So once there was a case at the Supreme Court pending a decision to be made, the President, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, should have exercised restraint to wait pending that particular decision to proceed. And if he has,
I want us to follow you in your argument. Which particular case was the Supreme Court handling when they made those pronouncements, as you refer to, in the law report?
I've not heard a question.
I'm asking that you refer to a law report provision, some conclusions in the law report that challenge the procedure. And I'm asking which particular case where is this that the judges were making reference to this, so that we can all go and check and follow what you're saying.
Reference Ajetum versus Attorney General and Akweti.
Okay.
And this was relative to a similar matter, and these judges were expressing their views by way of report, and they were all agreeing to the position of Dr. Datiba in terms of the judgment that Datiba and the conclusions that Dr. Datiba had reached. And in fact, if you read it carefully, Sophia Akufo JSC, who is former Chief Justice now, agreed to the position. Okay. You also read that you see one of the judges, Georgina Wood, who also a former Chief Justice now, also agreed to the conclusions of Dr. Datiba. Professor Okrai, who also agreed to the conclusions of Dr. Datiba. It was very clear.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He's the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. Doc, the NPP says this is a political witch hunt. How does the government or the NDC answer this question of the political witch hunt here?
Kojo, let me say good evening to you and the cherished listeners. You see, NPP, the defeat they suffered in 2024 election has confused their thinking capabilities of how governance is separated between executive, legislature, and judiciary. When they were in power, you see, I want to set some parameters very clear. NPP, I want to find out something from them. Why are they crying more than they believe? So that's what you should be asking them. Is the latest Chief Justice the woman organizer of NPP? What is their problem?
Kojo, can you let my brother withdraw that? She has never been a woman organizer of the NPP.
So hold on. I'm building something. So long as you say the woman is not a woman organizer of NPP, of what business are you people now her lawyers? If we are the lawyers, let us know. NPP are the lawyers of the Chief Justice. Then we know how to deal and cruise with that path. Because, look, I'm happy you asked me. In 2018, when you people in 2016 you were on campaign platform saying that when you come to power you are going to remove Charlotte Osei and her deputies. We thought you were joking. Little did we know that you were planning this thing. And shortly you were handed over power. You quickly trumped up charges against the lady and her 2 deputies. Went ahead. At that time, didn't you know the constitutional dictates? Didn't you know the processes therein in the 1992 Constitution? Maybe they are forgetting. We are not using the 1969 Constitution. We are using the 1992 Constitution. And I'm happy he's quoting this to copiously from that judgment which happened in 2005, 2006. You people came and packed the court with your judges, your former parliamentary candidates. Look at the current setup of the Supreme Court. If anybody is to talk about judges which has been packed there by political appointees, then you should be accusing the MPP.
But how do you define them as political appointees when the Constitution has mandated the president to appoint people to the Supreme Court? And that's what he did.
And they are still making noise.
I mean, Tanko, I'm asking, how do you determine as, the president packing the court with political appointees when the Constitution, explains the process by which the president can appoint someone to the Supreme Court?
You see, the law is two-phase. The spirit and the letter. That's why you are looking at the law. Now, when you are looking at the spirit of the Constitution or an article that is put in there, in the Constitution, and talking of neutrality, you don't go and bring your party parliamentary candidate to be a Supreme Court judge. And you are telling me because the president is qualified. Okay, tomorrow they will appoint me a electoral commissioner and see who talking that.
No, but Tanko, don't they have a point when they say prior to the election 2024, and even immediate after, you were on the point that the woman should be sacked? And if they see that this is happening, aren't they right to then point to the fact that this could be a calculated political witch hunt that you are undertaking?
Kojo, has the president sacked the chief justice?
Suspended.
No, suspended. Suspended. Is it the first time an officer is suspended? No was not sacking his minister. You are suspending them. Is it the first time they suspended a state officer? Is it the day your mama has suspended somebody? It's a problem. You, Danado, just yesterday, you were suspending ministers. When we say sack him, you suspend. Sack this DC. I'm suspending the person. I want to investigate. Is it the first time an officer is being suspended in Ghana? Why is this MPP behaving as if they went to Jupiter and study education and we study it in Earth?
But Tanko, what has changed in the Charlotte Osei removal? The NDC had issues with that. Isn't it same now that the
suspension?
No, hold on. Isn't it same now that the Chief Justice has also been asked to step aside?
That is what I'm saying. It's a procedure. They want to give her the benefit of the doubt. A committee has been set and say go and meet. Look, she's talking of Sophia. Their own former Chief Justice is in the Council of State. Was she not on the bench when this ruling was made? Is she not part of the team, the Council of State members who sat and looked at the response of the learned Chief Justice and decided that there is a prima facie case against her? She should come and answer. We didn't appoint her. We didn't appoint that Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, the lady. She's there. She's at the Council of State there. So they decided on the matter and they read her responses. And in the responses, they say, madam, you have a case to answer. Let's form a committee. Go and defend yourself in front of the committee. Then a political party will constitute themselves into an arbiter of this matter. And they are crying even more than the woman. What is their problem? That's why I'm saying MPP, the hypocrisy of MPC knows no bounds. Because you do one thing yesterday, when that thing is telling you today, you are running helter-skelter. You want the whole world to hear you. When you were sacking Charlotte Osei and the 2 deputies, do you know that because of the trauma the man went through, he died? Amadou. Mr. Amadou Sule died.
Did the doctors link that to the sacking? Are you saying that in the autopsy report they linked it to his sacking?
Trauma can kill somebody. Because it's a Muslim, they didn't do autopsy. The man is a Muslim. Muslims don't.
Well, unless the doctors proclaim that. But let me bring in Haruna Mohammed again. Haruna, so when are we likely to see this demonstration or protest that you talk about?
Kojo,
I think that my brother is reporting to you on the death of Amadou Sule because he was part of their election directorate. And Tanko Rashid is not a new person to the directorate of elections of the...
Well, that is not my question to you. I mean, I don't want us to engage in anything that we cannot prove. So go straight to my question.
And knows everything about Amadou Sule. You should not be surprised. Again, I also want to put it on record that the only political appointee we all know that is in Supreme Court now is Gabriel Fama, who was a general secretary of the People's National Convention. Everybody knows that the People's National Convention...
I don't know of that. So your statement of everybody knows, maybe you have to make it specific.
Yes, he knows it because the very PNC here is so much, and CPP so much close to the NDC here. So
my brother,
no, but stick with my question. I'm asking, when are we likely to see the protest that your party speaks of?
Occupies any other political position before serving the Supreme Court. And again, he's asking of our locus why we are citizens. Our qualification to belong to political parties in Ghana is because we are citizens of Ghana. We have interest in what happens in Ghana. And the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana is not for NDC, is not for MPP, is not for PNC. So it must be put on record. Anything that affects any arm of government, more especially and dangerously to the judiciary, the MPP is so much interested. And that is why we are making clear our positions on position of law. And that is why we are making this particular point very clear. Yes, you are asking about our request and impending demonstration we are talking about. It's going to be massive because we cannot sit down for us to have a judicial coup. It is not going to happen. This will not be tolerated. I don't think that this woman deserves what she's been put through. I think that if there is processes to go, the processes must be fair. And I think that something must be done about it.
No, but I mean, with all that we've heard, what makes you think the processes that are being implemented now are not fair?
Was part of those who agreed that prima facie has been established. It is very clear that the Constitution didn't say that the Council of State determined prima facie. That is also something that is questionable within the legal luminaries. It is not clear who establishes the prima facie. You can't say whether it was the Council of State decided that there was prima facie. If they can advise, and their advice is not compulsory to be taken by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. He could take his own decision without necessarily looking at what judgment that the Council of State has passed. And you cannot also say that the members of the Council of State, all of them had agreed. And I don't think that Madam Sophia Akufo will agree to that particular point in point for what he is saying. So I think that the harm has been caused. It's left with us as Ghanaians and the New Patriotic Party and other well-meaning Ghanaians to get up and stand and fight for the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. I don't think that this is what should be happening in our judiciary system. What happens to the independence of all the arms of government? What happens to that? I think that there should be a closer look, and I don't think that this is the way for us to go.
Well, quite interesting that the process that you used in dealing with Charlotte to say, when the same constitutionally prescribed processes are being used on the Chief Justice, you find issues with them. But Tanko Rashid, so
Kojo,
yes.
Yes, you see, the processes that is explained in Article 146, is very clear as to who establishes the prima facie. Do you get the point? And as to how the decisions are made with respect to other justices of the Supreme Court, and also in the case of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. In these particular circumstances, they are not the same. The processes are not the same. They start at a point as looking at the same procedure, but they come to depart because of the nature of the cases. So they are not the same. Even though they take the same form, but at a point in time, they separate their ways in terms of how...
Well, no one has said they are the same, but these are processes that the Constitution, prescribes. But I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Tanko Rashid, yeah, make a completely point and let's leave it.
Quick one, Kojo. It appears MPP is hiding something from Ghanaians. They should let us know. They should come clean. You see, what they are doing, their hypocrisy is legendary. And I'm happy the way you question him about it.
I'm grateful to you. Tanko Rashid, computer doctor, is Deputy National Director of Elections of the NDC. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the MPP. There's a lot more on this developing story coming up on Newsnight.
On Newsnight tonight, details surface about allegations of misconduct and incompetence at the heart of the petition to remove the Chief Justice.
Business. Yeah, but
the suspended Chief Justice did the direct opposite when she substituted her security detail with her husband and daughter and paid over 200,000 cedis for flight tickets for the family.
We'll tell you what the Chief Justice has been saying in her defense. Also tonight, Health Minister suffers backlash over sacking of Tamale Teaching Hospital CEO, with the Ghana Medical Association describing his action as an abuse of power.
Now that the doctor is being threatened, he, the MP, is he there to protect the doctor? Social media has been sent messages saying that he's killed the patient. People are on his page cyberbullying him. People are sending messages to the wife and his family. And the MP is there saying that it's because they've questioned him.
Details as a minority calls for an immediate reinstatement of the CEO.
I'm not saying that people should not be disciplined. The same law provides when there are discipline issues, that one must follow. We have to guide it and make sure that people have the morale, go the extra mile.
Right.
That's all that we are saying. It's reinstated.
Also later tonight, Dr. Bawumia fights off claims he lost the elections because he is a Muslim and declares the party will expand its electoral college as part of a grand strategy to recapture power.
But if you look at all across the country, the fact is that there was no religious factor in the voting. It is only propaganda.
And in business, Finance Minister Dr. Atuforsen insists a tariff hike is not the solution to challenges facing the energy sector.
And in sports, Ghana is off to a strong start in the African School Championship in Accra as both the boys and girls teams secure crucial victories in their opening matches.
You want to stay with us for that, plus your comments here on Newsnight. 05511119997. Details after this.
I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no.
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want them. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, I sleep.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302-681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Where do your hopes and dreams take flight? The money you've earned, the future shining bright. At Petra, we're not just here for your retirement plan. We are here for the life you've imagined and then some. From your child's education to your dream home's door, we'll help you achieve what you're striving for. Petra is here, steady, and strong. Your wealth in safe hands, where it belongs. With investments that grow at rates that compete, we build your future with every heartbeat. That's Petra, your partner. Come joy or strife, guiding you toward the dreams that define your life. For your pensions, investments, loans, and more, visit our website at petraonline.com or dial *447 *70#. Petra, achieve more.
Every year, thousands of Ghana's brightest minds leave in search of better opportunities abroad, creating a gap in our workforce. The critical question is, how do we motivate these talented individuals to stay and drive Ghana's much-needed economic transformation? How do we inspire them to build their future here? The time to act is now. Join David Ofosudote, Senior Partner at AB and David Africa, Professor Mary Setrana from the Center for Migration at the University of Ghana, Abena Amwa, Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, and former President of Mauritius, Her Excellency Dr. Amina Gurib Fakim, at the 12th edition of the Ishmael Yamson and Associates Business Roundtable. Together, they will explore the theme, Managing the Talent Exodus, Leveraging Private-Public Partnerships for Growth. The date is the 7th of May 2025. The venue, the Palms by Eagles in Airport City. The time is 9 a.m. Be a part of this transformational conversation on Ghana's future. To register, text your name and organization to 0530 117 202 or email info@ieyamson.com.
And you're still live here on News Night. It's on Joy 99.7 FM, and still ahead, Agbogloshi fire victims still waiting for help months after fire destroyed their businesses.
I was asleep. Then before I would realize fire. I stood up. I said I charged fire. I lose my everything. Even in my house, like 18 rooms, all burned.
I want to stay with us for the latest episode in our fire series. But now, though, details are beginning to emerge tonight about the allegations of misconduct and incompetence at the heart of the three petitions to remove the Chief Justice. Gertrude Tokonu was yesterday suspended by the President after a prima facie case was made against her. We are now learning about the specifics of the allegations that convinced the President to suspend her. Deputy Attorney General Justice Sremsari confirms to Joy News that it was a Council of State that recommended that the Chief Justice be suspended.
He did not act in accordance with advice. I'm sure the statement would have made it clear that the President made a decision, you know. So I think that, not that I think, I am aware that that is what happened. And that is what the communication, you know, from the presidency also published.
Well, was this a unanimous recommendation?
Well, I don't think that will be made known because the council, if you, and I'm happy that my very learned, you know, senior, who was a member of the Council of State, would inform the public that the Council of State mostly work with consensus. They hardly go with votes and counting and all that. So, and I believe that this decision, this advice also was made in the consensus. By way of consensus rather than by casting votes and counting votes.
Well, my colleague Latif Idris joins me in the studio now with details of the allegations contained in the petition that was evaluated by the Council of State and the recommendations made on that basis. It also includes the suspended CJ's own responses to these allegations. And Latif, first, who are the petitioners?
So we have, number one, Daniel Ofori. Daniel Ofori makes 21 specific allegations of misbehavior of the Honorable Chief Justice and 4 allegations of incompetence. Number 2, we have Ayamga Yakubu Akogo. He is a senior police officer in the Ghana Police Service on the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police, stationed at the National Police Headquarters, Accra. He documented what he calls 16 counts. The 16 of them all accusing the Chief Justice of making discourteous and disrespectful comments and mocking him. He also alleges that the Chief Justice caused his unlawful arrest. And number 3 is Kingsley Ajayi. He's a chairman and convener with the Shining Stars of Ghana. 2 main allegations bordering on the Chief Justice's recommendation to Akufo-Addo to appoint some 5 judges. Allegations that the Chief Justice misconducted herself in the handling of the Afenyo and Speaker of Parliament and Attorney General case. And finally, that's Evans.
Yeah, okay, so those are the 3 main petitioners and the summary of the case they have against the CJ. There's so many of the grounds that they lay out in these 3 petitions. Let's focus on a few. Daniel Forey, for instance, alleges misappropriation of public funds.
Yeah, so he mentioned in the petition that in 2023, the Honorable Chief Justice misappropriated the sum of 261,890 Ghana cedis of public funds for the benefit of the Chief Justice for her private foreign travel with her husband, Mr. Francis Kofi Tokonu, and her daughter, Miss Edem S.A. Tokonu, and 30,000 United States dollars in per diem allowance when, to her knowledge, neither the husband of the Chief Justice nor the Chief Justice's daughter were entitled to have their travel or any travel allowances paid for out of the funds of the judicial service.
And that $30,000 in
Yes.
today's terms, you're talking about some 480,000 CDs.
Then in the same 2023, the Honorable Chief Justice misappropriated the sum of 75,580 Ghana cedis out of public funds for Ethiopian airline tickets for the Honorable Chief Justice and her husband during the vacation of her ladyship to Arusha in Tanzania. In the same 2023, her ladyship, the Honorable Chief Justice, obtained from the Judicial Service an accountable interest in the sum of 14,000 United States dollars to the Honorable Chief Justice to travel with her husband to Arusha in Tanzania, which he failed to retire.
How does the Chief Justice respond?
In a response, she says, quote, I respectfully present herewith my appointment letter, which should have been added to the original bundle as Exhibit D01. It will show that the terms of the Chief Justice appointment include 2 round-trip tickets for her official vacation for a maximum of 14 days on each journey. The Chief Justice is never, by written policy, and she quotes here Exhibit D02, allowed to travel alone. The Chief Justice is allowed to travel on unlimited occasions on official travel with her spouse. These 3 strands of privilege and obligations support the Chief Justice traveling with her spouse or daughter on the official vacation given her by the terms of appointment. Can it be suggested by any stretch of imagination, much less the making of a prima facie determination of wrongdoing, that when the Chief Justice travels on her official vacation with a designated person, it constitutes misconduct warranting removal from office for her to travel with her spouse? Would any Ghanaian urge that the President or Speaker of Parliament, as the other 2 heads of government with the Chief Justice under Article 57(2) of the 1992 Constitution, would have misappropriated state funds if they traveled with their spouse or son or daughter on the official vacation given to them by the state in their letter of investiture as their designated partner? Will this not be a mockery of our democracy? Can it be suggested by any stretch of imagination that when implementers of the policies of the Judicial Service purchase tickets for the official vacation of the Chief Justice and her designated companion, it is the Chief Justice who has personally misappropriated state funds? Will this not be a mockery of the principle underlining what misappropriation means?
What about the allegations surrounding the Ethiopian Airlines?
So the response is that in September 2023, I fell ill from exhaustion when I arrived in Arusha and had to return to Ghana a day early in order to ensure that I was able to have one full day to journey to Cape Coast for the annual conference of the Ghana Bar Association. This led to a change and rerouting of my return journey to Ghana through Ethiopia Airline. And she says page 4 of Exhibit DO4 provide information on this. It is therefore unfortunate that the petitioner, an outsider to the records of judicial service, should create the wrong presentation of this expenditure used for the purchase of tickets for the Chief Justice.
And the $14,000 accountable imprest?
Yes, so on the imprest, she says, on the untruthful allegation of failure to retire imprest, I have attached evidence signed by me and corroborated by the judicial service that I spent $4,411 out of the imprest of 14,000 United States dollars and retired all of the rest of it 2 days after I returned from my journey. It is my firm belief that the nation would undoubtedly find such a proposition that the acts described above constitutes wrongdoing unthinkable, and it ought not be entertained by the august body of His Excellency the President and eminent members of the Council of State.
Okay, thank you very much, Lateef. And this is one that is currently before the committee that has now been set up, the 5-member committee chaired by one member of the bench, own colleague, Justice Scott Parman, and they will be reviewing all this together with the evidence to support the allegations that have been made against her. And she also, of course, has to go there. She claims she's provided exhibits to back her own stance on the matter. That's what we know from the petitions against the Chief Justice. And I want to bring in right now the Ed Dempsey, I know he's an anti-corruption campaigner. We've been speaking a lot to lawyers, but also the governance people. Now that we're beginning to learn a bit more about the nature of the allegations against her. And I must add that if you read the petitions, part of it cites internal audits that were conducted that flagged some of the issues that will now be a subject of the inquiry. Adamson, now that we're learning a bit more, I wonder what your reaction is as an anti-corruption campaigner.
It's a bit difficult to arrive at a conclusion. I find a lot of merit in the Chief Justice's response that isn't it to be expected that the head of the third arm of government should be able to travel on their holiday with their spouse. I also find that typically it is not the Chief Justice who will do the purchase. So whoever is responsible for protocol would be consulting the policy in place in order to get the approvals, because unless you have a dictatorship, you have somebody who will trigger the request separate from the person who's going to approve the request, and then it gets to who will procure the tickets. In that process, whoever is doing the approval ought to have checked the context to see whether the policy supports the purchase for the spouse. So at the moment, I'm wondering, is it that the policy supporting the Chief Justice office is not clear? I'm also wondering, we are quoting 2023. The auditors must have come in 2024. What were the audit findings? Did they raise this as a red flag? And how did the Chief Justice's office respond to it? So I think it's early days yet. In my mind, there seems to be a justification for us to expect that on the holiday, maybe this is covered. Unless there is no clear policy, she says she's attached her appointment letter. I haven't seen it. But she must be suggesting that somewhere in that appointment letter, etc., this is covered. So it's difficult to say that there is a clear case. I am delighted to note that in any case, the Council of State members are not appointed by the President. So their decision to make this move must be seen as an independent opinion because they are elected. So if the 16 members or so came to the conclusion that there is some merit, it means that the constitutional processes are being followed. But I still think that listening to what the Chief Justice has said, there seems to be some merit there, and so it's early days.
It all comes down to what the policy says and what she's entitled to, basically, and whether she exceeded that knowingly. And we'll be getting a few more details from the Deputy Attorney General because we're learning tonight that there have been 2 additional petitions already filed against her, in addition to the 3 that is already being considered. And on the back of what we're now learning in these 3 petitions, really, the parts that have been highlighted, the committee will now have to evaluate. And you have on the committee a good friend of yours, Daniel Demelepo, who is an auditor par excellence, who would look at what the auditors found and interrogate the basis of the allegations against her and look into, and we must put this out there, the petitions went without the documentary evidence, so we don't know what else the petitioners have to substantiate the allegations. I guess that's where this will all come down to, right?
Yes. At the end of the day, it will be the facts and evidence backing it, because indeed, one of my first points of concern was just seeing, as it were, excerpts, and not knowing is this supported. So you can say, and it starts with allegation. So we cannot assume that there's a factual basis that she spent $260,000 or $30,000. Anyone can write something and put it out there. So we are assuming that this is the actual petition and it is supported with the evidence that should is credible. But I think her responses suggest that she's taking it seriously. For example, if you take the last one where they said 14,000 or the 400, and she says, "Look, I spent 4,000 or the 100 or 400, and 2 days after arrival, I retired the rest." That worries me. I mean, if anyone somewhere without the facts can begin to make allegations, and we will begin such a process, perhaps as part of the Constitutional Review Committee process, we need to think through what level of crime or administrative lapse will constitute good reason to trigger such a process like this. Otherwise, we may spend a lot of time on things which should not deserve this kind of attention.
Thank you very much. That day is Adam Senanu speaking to us about the contents of the petition, 3 of them against the Chief Justice. So listening to News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, Health Minister Kwabena Mensah Kando is receiving more backlash tonight over the sacking of the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. The Health Minister announced the sacking of Dr. Adam Atiku last night on the back of poor handling of critical equipment at the hospital and unexplained circumstances leading to the death of a patient. The action of the minister has sparked huge controversy and criticism over the manner he carried out the dismissal. We'll hear from the Ghana Medical Association pretty shortly, the minority and others who condemn the minister's actions. But listen to Kwabena Mensah Kando himself confirming the sacking of Dr. Adam Atiku to me last night.
As I speak to you now, we have thanked him for the services he has delivered at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and we think that somebody else must come and continue as the CEO of the facility.
So he has been sacked?
Exactly.
With immediate effect?
With immediate effect.
He accepted this, or he's going to fight this?
Well, I don't know yet.
This was formally communicated to him in a letter or verbally?
In a letter.
But did you meet him today?
Yes, I did.
And because I heard you say that you're also going to set up a committee to look into the circumstances surrounding the death, the recent death. That hasn't happened yet, so I'm curious why the swift move to sack him.
We have set up the committee.
But they haven't
the
worked.
Committee has been set up.
They haven't worked to give you a report yet?
No, not at all.
So is it
is not.
premature?
So get it right. Get it right. Probably relieving him of his position is not only because of the incident that happened on Sunday. And mind you, the appointing authority owes nobody any explanation for hiring or firing an employee.
Is he a staff of the Ghana Health Service? And so if you sacked him there, he returns to the service, or he's completely out of the service?
If he is a staff of the Ghana Health Service, once he's relieved of his position as a CEO, he can be seconded to any of the agencies under the ministry.
Well, we're now hearing from the Ghana Medical Association. They've condemned the sacking. They are demanding a reinstatement of the CEO. Listen to the General Secretary of the Association, Dr. Richard Salome.
Inquest into death of any human being is not a public event. And that is why when mortality audits or clinical audits are organized, it is not even open for external sources. It has to be done first before it is then proceeded from the hospital to take certain actions or not, or escalated up depending on what. If you have any challenges, you can proceed to any of the regulatory bodies. Nobody does inquests on camera. It has issues of patients' confidentiality. Patients' details will come out. Probably even some family members don't know. It has risks for public confidence in healthcare. And it also has serious implications. Now that the doctor is being threatened, he, the MP, is there to protect the doctor. So I think he must stop that. If he is trying to make the call at the end that we should sit and stop being emotional, I expect he himself to be very, to read our statement carefully and then respond properly to it than how he's trying to go the tangent and it's just because they are questioning a doctor. No.
Dr. Solomon, who is threatening this doctor? Who is threatening this doctor?
Social media has been sent messages saying that he's killed the patient. People are on his page cyberbullying him. People are sending messages to the wife and his family. And the MP is there saying that it's because they've questioned him. Who says nobody can question the doctor? There are issues that are systemic, and we expect that that is done. There are also issues that the man has explained. There's something that has occurred. People have taken to social media blaming the hospital. The hospital has responded saying they are going to have a formal inquiry into the matter. Why don't you allow the hospital to go into it, find the people who are culpable, and then deal with them? If you are dissatisfied, you can even come in and deal with the issues. You, the MP and co, are making prejudicial statements, prejudging the matter that negligence has occurred. What are you doing? If the hospital finds out that it's actually not negligence, because negligence is not a common word, it's a legal term in medical legal practice, which has certain criteria that must be fulfilled. If they find out that it is not negligence and it actually goes against the declaration by you, what then? How would that statement even be trusted?
Well, the minority on the Health Committee of Parliament, they've also waiting on this, demanding immediate reinstatement as well of Dr. Adam Atiku, insisting that the Health Minister, Kwabena Mensah, acted unlawfully. Listen to Dr. Kingsley Edgerman. He's the MP for the Boako South and a member of the Health Committee on the minority side.
It is administratively not consistent with the provisions of the very act that established the teaching hospitals. So it's out of order. And again, in all humility, rules of natural justice stipulate that people should be given fair hearing. I don't think the CEO was heard in this matter. The whole decision was rash. And we believe that if you want to do public service, it calls for a high level of sobriety. We can't run things out of emotions. The decision was very rash. And it's a very, very inimical to the work of the health profession. Let's be very honest. Health professionals go through a lot in the delivery of their service. We are of the opinion that due procedure was not followed, the president was not consulted, or if the president had consulted the Council of State, the doctor in person of the CEO, they sent out that report. If they want to make it like a coincidence where that of the CEO is different from the neurologist who had issues, the minister, that is up to them. And what we know is that, as stipulated by the sections of the article or the law that regulates them, the Council of State has not been consulted, and that the minister is not therefore close with that power to issue the tax. We are not saying that people should not be disciplined. The same law provides when there are discipline issues, that one must follow. We have to guide it and make sure that people have the morale to go the extra mile.
Right.
That's all that we are saying. It should be reinstated.
What are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts. 055-1111-997. And my colleague James is joining me right now with business. Hello, James.
Well, coming up in business this evening, Finance Minister Dr. Atuforsen insists tariff hike is not the solution to funding challenges facing the energy sector, and government and Goodfield's Ghana reached transitional deal on Daman mine. Business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks and Pepsodent herbal and charcoal.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Sharp! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244-308-111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302-551-917 or 0302-551-918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302-764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Hey, Jenny Hamsa. And you stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You hear my tina watch. New Yanets now watch. No, be a baby, someone some demon in us say. Jenny Hamsa. For quiet, yes, in Biara Association Ontario. Use Stay Soft and New Yanets now watch. Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. A year near says, choose to Stay Soft. No, who's so say, no. FDID a getting crack to yet.
The books are in and the boots are out, guys. The kids have entered the building. The future of African football is happening right here in Legon Stadium, Ghana. This is history in the making. We are seeing the Nesta Pele, DJ Drogba, or Asamoah Gyan right here on the page.
Ghana, let's play now. Come support our future stars at the CAF African Schools Football Championship from April 21 to 26. CAF African Schools Football Championship. Engage, encourage, educate.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. I am James Shen. We settle for the details now. And Finance Minister Dr. Atuforsen has maintained that increasing utility tariffs should not be seen as the solution to dealing with the funding challenges facing the sector. The Finance Minister said this during the World Bank meeting on Ghana's Energy Compact program. George Riafe has the rest of the story.
Speaking at the World Bank engagement, the Finance Minister, Dr. Atuforsen, noted that looking at the current challenges facing the energy sector, we should not see tariffs increasing as the way to go to deal with the funding challenges facing the sector. The Finance Minister's comments are coming at a time that tariffs should be going up every quarter in line with the IMF program. However, the Deputy Minister of Energy has revealed to Joe Business that government is working to deal with those variables that lead to the tariffs going up significantly in every quarter. According to the Minister of Finance, Dr. Atuforsen, the country needs about $2 billion every year to deal with the funding challenges facing the sector. He added the electricity company should look at dealing with this challenge by also addressing some of the internal inefficiencies going forward. The Finance Minister also viewed that it is for this reason that is why Cabinet has approved private sector participation in the power distribution sector as part of government strategy to deal with the challenges facing the energy sector.
And that was George Uriafe there with the report. Now, Government and Goldfields Ghana Limited have reached an amicable agreement on transitional arrangement for the diamond mine. This will pave the way for renewed operations and potential Ghanaian ownership. The following report has more.
This was contained in a statement from the presidency issued by Minister of Government Communications Felix Kwakye-Ofosu. By the agreement, Goldfields subsidiary Abosu Goldfields Limited will receive a new 12-month mining lease to continue open-pit mining operations. This lease, pending parliamentary ratification in May 2025, is aimed at protecting jobs and conducting feasibility studies to assess the mine's reserves and future lifespan. Under the new agreement, Goldfields will resume open-pit mining during the transition period, safeguarding jobs and conducting feasibility studies to establish the mine's reserves and mine life.
And that was a news desk report. Now, some tax analysts have called for the strengthening of the transfer pricing unit and other monitoring units under the Ghana Revenue Authority to enable government track revenues of big corporate firms. Transfer pricing usually occurs when two related companies engage in the manipulation of price of goods and services to reduce their balance. Speaking at a dialogue organized by the Accounting and Finance Faculty of the University of Professional Studies, Accra, to address tax revenue leakages, Manager for Business Tax Advisory at Ernst & Young, Abigail Mensah, explained that proper control systems will minimize the rate of tax avoidance, especially among large companies.
And again, the issue of transfer pricing, we can also link it to the fact that if we have a system we have that system, but then for it to be more robust, for the competent authority, which is here in Ghana, GRA, and those of related parties, that is countries of origin, they should work together coincisively to ensure that there's IT audit. The system should be able to pick up, transactions that are, fictitious and fraudulent instantly. And we have talked extensively about icons and all of you. We've talked about the ITAS, we've talked about metering systems. So if we have digital solutions working properly, can be able to merge works that are being done by the competent authorities, GRA, and then other countries. So
Abigail Mensah is the Manager for Business Tax Advisory at Ernst & Young. Now, finally, MTN Ghana has reaffirmed its commitment to empowering businesses through technology and innovation at the Chief Technology Innovation Officer Roundtable Africa event. Chief Enterprise Business Officer of MTN Ghana, Angela Mensah-Poku, highlighted MTN Ghana's strategic focus on integrating digital literacy into business operations.
Well, the great thing about MTN and MTN Business today is we're rolling out capacity building. So we will be doing digital literacy, digital marketing for our SME businesses. So it doesn't matter where you are. Wherever you are, we'll hold your hand and we'll teach you small, until you are the experts, until you're telling us what we should be doing. So at every level, we're coming in and we're making sure that we can hold your hand and educate you so that your business grows from bigger to bigger to bigger.
Angela Mensah Poku is the Chief Enterprise Business Officer at MTN Ghana. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James Ishin. Over to you, Evans.
Thank you very much. Newsnight is live here on Joy 99.7 FM, 05511111997 is a WhatsApp line. I'll be sharing some of your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly. Now, months after a fierce fire gutted wooden homes and shops at Agbogbloshie's Baller Down in the November 2025, victims say they've been left to fend for themselves with no support from government, corporate bodies, and aid groups. Unlike victims of recent fires at the Doom PZ and Cantonment, these residents have received no help to rebuild, struggling to restart their lives. They are calling on philanthropists, CSOs, and state agencies to break the silence and bring hope. In this episode of Breaking the Fire Cycle, Sweetie Abochi tells their story.
All of these places have been destroyed by the fire because most of the structures here were made out of wood. At 10 p.m. on November 24th, 2024, here at Bola Top Down in Agbogbloshie, fire started from right here in this corner and raised down several structures all the way going back miles from where I'm standing right now. Lives were not destroyed, but means of livelihood were. Abdulaziz lives right behind me, and he was one of the first victims.
Things are burning. People who have
victims of that fire. He lost his house, and this is his story.
It was unexpected. I was asleep. Then before I realized fire, I stood up. I saw the church fire. I lose my everything, even my house, like 18 rooms, all burned. The whole business with me I do for the year, or I sold everything on the 24th November. Morning time, yes. I sold everything, evening time, the whole thing burned. 50,000 Ghana cedis. Everything burned.
Just like Abdulaziz, Johnson is another victim of the fire that raised down several wooden structures here at Agbogbloshie Bola Top Down. And like Abdulaziz, he also is unable to mobilize the funds to rebuild his home.
This is not the first time of fire outbreak here. Money that was lost, 800,000 above it.
Motorbikes, homes, furniture, wooden structures that served as stalls all burnt down to ashes, and they remain hopeful. However, they're asking that if anyone can come to their aid and help them, this is not what their lives looked like before that fire, and so please come to their aid. Whose lives need help, so if you can, help them out.
Sweetie Abochi's report for Joy News.
To some politics now, and the 2024 presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has dismissed claims that he lost the elections because he is a Muslim. Dr. Bawumia said the party's defeat can be attributed to disaffection among MPP members and that it was all within because they failed to turn up to vote in the 2024 elections. He argued that he performed better than many of his party's parliamentary candidates who are Muslims, who are Christians actually.
So I decided to do some data analysis to test this hypothesis. And when you look at the data is very clear. In many constituencies across the country, the MPP presidential candidate performed better than the Christian parliamentary candidate. In many constituencies across. So it couldn't be if they were voting because of religion, I shouldn't be performing better than the Christian parliamentary candidates. Even my good friend, Intim Kojo, who is giving a lot of heat to the government at the moment in Thailand. Intim Kojo is a reverend father in Intim Kojo, as in South. But I did better than him in his constituency. So he did so well. I mean, he did and mobilized the votes for me, and I thank him very much. But if you look at all across the country, the fact is that there was no religious factor in the voting. It is only propaganda.
Well, he welcomed the Professor Michael Quay report, and that committee investigated why the MPP lost so heavily in the 2024 elections. He also announced with some certainty that the party will make some constitutional amendments, including expanding its electoral college.
I am very, very happy that Professor Michael Okoye and his Elections Review Committee have submitted their report. We've waited for this report for a long time, and they delivered the report on time. And I must say that I am very happy with the Okoye report. It has put to bed a lot of the propaganda that was going around about exactly why we lost the election. And I'm very happy about that.
Well, the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong, is now apologizing to the party's faithful, the rank and file supporters, asking for forgiveness.
We know we did our best in terms of infrastructure, in terms of policies, but we didn't get everything right. So to everyone who hears us, who watches us, on behalf of the National Party, we want to say we are sorry for the disappointment that you had. But we can assure you that we have learned our lessons, and the restructuring that is going to happen in our party will make sure that the new patriotic party comes back on the right road, and in 2028, when by God's grace you give us a mantle, all the wrongs that were made will be corrected for us to have a better government under the leadership of a flag bearer that we will select. So on this note, I'll end by assuring the staff at this office that we need to work together as a team. There is so much work to be done. All of us here are not perfect. In one way or the other, we might have offended your sister or your brother. But as a mark of showing unity and reconciliation, just look at the person sitting on your right, on your left, and tell the person, for the sake of unity, if you have even sinned against me, I have forgiven you.
I want to bring in right now Dr. Richard Amakoba. He's a political scientist. He himself one time attended to become the party's national chairman. Joins us on the line right now. Professor Ali Duseidu is the head of the political science department of the University of Ghana. This is on the eve of the party launching this Thank You tour across the country, but they're sounding a note of unity. Dr. Amakoba, you heard the vice president himself. He says that the defeat was internal. It wasn't because he is a Muslim, but more broadly, the party says they acknowledge why they've lost, they're sorry for it, and you're ready to unite the rank and file. Is this the first step to recapturing power, another exercise in futility?
Well, unity is the first step. So it's in the right direction. But there's something they didn't talk about, is the past president, the former president. He has become an albatross around the neck of the party. I said before the election, they should not allow him to campaign actively because he has become very unpopular, and people will reflect that unpopularity on the party. So they should let him stay in the background. And when it's all said and done, then he can come forward. But no, even now, he wants to control the party. So 67% of the people, MPP, said he is the cause of the defeat. And yet he doesn't even accept that. He wants to reflect that. He wants to say that it's because they presented the wrong candidate. Who is the wrong candidate? Wasn't he supporting Bawumia? So did he send the wrong candidate for people to vote for?
You make a point about wrong candidate. Dr. Bawumia himself, having heard internally the accusations against him about why the party suffered such a humiliating defeat, addresses one of the prime accusations against him, which is that people didn't vote for the party because he's a Muslim, the first to stand on the ticket of the party with that religious faith as what they hold on to. I want to bring in Dr. Aduseidu. Doc, what do you make of that point that the vice president himself takes some time to try and deal with? Is he right when he says, well, I've looked at the data and it had nothing to do with my religious faith, it had everything to do with our disunity?
Thank you, Evans. I think there were a lot of factors that contributed to the defeat of the MPP in last year's election, including arrogance of power, failure to implement their policies, the state of the economy, and then identity politics. Religion is a very important factor that determines how people vote in this country. Even the selection of tickets in the major political parties, they usually balance based on northern, southerner, Christian, Muslim. So we all recognize that that particular factor is very critical. But maybe when you compare it to other factors that had caused the defeat, you realize that it is maybe insignificant compared to the state of the economy, arrogance of power, ability to deliver free promises, and the contribution of individual personalities in the party. So I will argue that his point is right, but they should not downplay the role of religion and other social identity factors moving forward in 2028.
Dr. Makuba, another thing he announced today, that one of the constitutional reforms will certainly be an expansion of the Electoral College. Is that the right move?
Yes, it is. It's long overdue. This is why corruption is rampant. Meritocracy, when you have more money, you buy the vote, they vote for you. We saw it in our as pathetic display of cash, and the president himself was standing there. What I'm saying now is this: not that I have anything against the president. He has led the party for 8 years. That's enough. That's more we can. He should go and retire. Let the party decide whom they want, not what he wants. So he sits behind, and even now wants to control the party. We will never agree to that. We will resist it all the way, and that is just analytic poll. That's what it shows. 67% says it is him. So he should accept it and back off instead of still trying to fight to deflect that finding and say it was the wrong candidate. What wrong candidate? He went to the poll 3 times before he won. First time he was the wrong candidate. Second time super wrong. And then he became the darling the third time. It makes no sense.
Dr. Makuba, my question wasn't at all about Akufo-Addo, but you bring him in quite a bit. Well,
he's completely out of the picture. He's the cause.
Yeah, but
you don't want to talk about it.
He's no longer the boss. He's a former president.
With the findings.
He's a former president. He's out of the picture.
The poll says 67%, and yet you say nothing about him. How is that possible?
But because he's no longer in the frame, he is completely out of the picture now. He's
not completely out. He's behind the scenes. That is the problem. You are not able to say he's not completely out. When he says he presented the wrong candidate, he was referring to Bawumia being the wrong candidate. That's why we won. But it's not true.
I haven't heard him say that the party presented the wrong candidate.
They won't tell you. The surrogate will say it. I was in the radio station saying that. Where do you think it comes from?
I mean, I just want to focus for a second, Aludi said it very briefly, on this point that Bawumia himself makes. Listen.
Made some very important recommendations for this party. And those recommendations have been forwarded to a constitutional review committee to then look at it and bring it back to NEC and National Council for us to then make certain changes. You can expect, without any doubt, that the delegate system is going to be changed. That we will change the current delegate system and allow more people to vote. And that give more rights to more people to come in and be part of the Electoral College.
Hello, Disedu. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Evan.
What do you make of that Vice President's announcement that there's certainly going to be a change in the delegate system?
Yeah, I think the delegate system is one of the most widely used means of electing candidates in sub-Saharan Africa. It's lauded to lead to the selection of very electable, prominent, winnable candidates. It allows for participation, but also select the best candidate. But it has been abused over the years by political parties who interfere in the process to favor their preferred candidates, and it has also been monetized over the years. The one with the biggest purse end up buying all the delegates and winning. So moving forward, an expanded electoral college system can allow for deeper participation, to some extent reduce the monetization, but I don't think it will completely be able to deal with monetization. It has come to stay in our politics. Why can't you can reduce it? But the other side is also that it may lead to a very bitter, acrimonious, long campaign. If you are going to campaign throughout the country, if every MPP member is going to vote, then it is also going to increase the amount of money candidates will spend. rather than spending on maybe 100,000 delegates, you have to spend on all the party base of the NPP across the country.
I mean, which
so
should be
it's a good
impossible,
thing.
right? Which should be impossible. I mean, the party at least will have more than 1 million card-bearing members. It's not possible to pay all of them.
It will, yes, it can reduce the monetization, but people are still very strategic. If I'm a candidate and I know the total number of people who will be voting, I'll be very proportionate to do survey and pick maybe the people who can vote for me to win, and I'll focus on them and spend on them.
Thank you very much. Interesting days ahead for the New Patriotic Party. Professor Ali Lusedu is the head of the Political Science Department, and you had Dr. Makoba, who is a political scientist himself and the former aspiring national chairman of the MPP. And I have here Ms. Bao with the latest from the world of sports.
Yes, even just a very quick update from the ongoing African School Championship, which is happening at the University of Ghana Stadium. And Ghana's boys team and girls team are in the competition. The boys team did defeat Uganda 2-0, and Morocco suffered defeat in the hands of Ghana's girls team, ended 1-0. Lawrence Baidu of the Joy Sports Desk monitored the event on the first day of the championship and has more in this report for you, Evans.
It's good omen for Team Ghana as far as the African Schools Football Championship is concerned, because both the girls and the boys pick up wins in their opening games in the tournament here at the University of Ghana. The boys had to do it a more comfortable way because 2 goals in each half, or a goal in each half from John Ando, meant that it was a debut to remember for the Black Comets. For the girls, it was a bit difficult because they had to rely on a Jennifer Ewuku second half strike to beat Morocco in a game that they could have won much easier if they had taken their chances. But then it's a result they would want to be proud of. Heading forward, Ghana are back in action on Thursday against the boys take on South Africa while the girls take on Benin. I mean, South Africa themselves were 2-0 winners in their opening game against Algeria, so it's a bit of a tricky moment for them. As far as other results are concerned, defending champion South Africa lost in the girls category to Uganda, while Senegal and Tanzania played out a 1-1 draw in the boys category.
And so live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. On today's Climate Focus, we explore the critical nexus between climate-induced migration, peace and security. Our spotlight turns to the northern part of Ghana, where we have the first look at the effects of climate change as it extends beyond environmental concerns to impact livelihoods, employment and regional stability. This report, produced in collaboration with our partners at the Youth Bridge Foundation, delves deeper into these pressing issues.
In the heart of West Africa, beneath its burning sun and upon its parched earth, a story of survival, conflict, and the quest for peace unfolds. This is northern Ghana, where the consequences of climate change are not just statistics, but stark realities that shape the destinies of its people. The Fulani and nomadic people and the Dagombas, farmers rooted to the land, find themselves at the crossroads of tradition and the harsh realities of climate change. Dams that once sustained life have dried up, leaving behind more than just barren land.
In the dry season, the little water remaining in the dam for us to use becomes muddy, making it difficult for us to use it. The dam used to be deep with clean water, but with the dirt in it now, it renders the water dirty, even if the quantity is much. As people fetch the water, some fetch it home for their animals to drink, but we ourselves do not have a clean source of water to drink. But we have no other option than to also rely on this water for drinking and cooking.
For the Fulani, migration is not a choice, but a necessity. As water becomes scarce and grazing lands vanish, they move, driven by the ancient rhythms of the earth and sky. But their journey is fraught with challenges.
The only source of water we have is the place where we are. The small dam we can use to harvest some small water. It will take us, after when the rain stops, it will take us maybe 1 or 2 months, then it will finish. After that, we will not get any water unless we move to different places and get water for we ourselves and our animals. Because of We are suffering for getting water, so that's the reason why our father, he said we should organize some small amount so that we'll get people to come and help us to redig the place so that we harvest more water.
The arrival of the Fulani and their herds in Dagomba land sparks conflict. Lands once fertile are now battlegrounds, where survival is pitted against survival. Both sides bear the scars of this clash, with stories of loss and longing.
One day I was there when somebody calls me that cattle are inside my farm. So I went and they already go outside the farm. So I chased them with motorbike. I couldn't be able to meet them. But fortunately, I met their owners coming to the roadside. So I talked to them. Then they went back and saw that it was their cattle. So they came to apologize to me, so to forgive them.
Their intention is that the grass near the farm is very softer than where they are grazing every day. So they plan to come at the day you are not in the farm. They will come and graze at the edges and enter inside your farm and graze.
There are times my herd disturbs other people's farms. The reason is because the population is increasing. Places where our cattle used to graze has now been turned into farms, and cattle would always graze in those places now. And sometimes they walk into people's farms. But the reason we've stayed here for long is because we are patient, and as much as possible, we try to talk and negotiate with the people whose farms are destroyed by the cattle.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
And that's it for News Night tonight. And you want to stay with us for more here on Joy 99.7 FM. And many of you are joining with your comments. This one from Chrissy says MPP did worse things at the time they forgot that there was something called law and constitution in Ghana. And the final one from Champon Sonny says if Dr. Kwame is saying PPP is not correlated to religious situation, then PPP is too heavy to present him as a party's presidential candidate. Enjoy the rest of the day.